Okay, we're just going to spend some time going through the topic 13 review, just going over our sequences and series again, which is what we did before break. On your review and on the test, you will have all of these formulas. So let me just remind you what they're for. This first one is how to find the nth term of an arithmetic sequence. Okay, remember an arithmetic sequence is one where you're adding or subtracting a number over and over again. So if you want to find the 100th term or whatever, A1 is your first term, N is whatever you're trying to find, the 100th term, and then D is the common difference. That's what you're adding or subtracting over and over. If you want to find the sum of an arithmetic sequence, that's what the S is. We take the number of terms divided by 2, and then A1 is your first term and AN is your last term. The other type of sequence that we talked about was a geometric sequence. That's where you're multiplying by a number over and over again. So to find the nth term of that, we take the first term times the common ratio, that's what you're multiplying by over and over, to the n minus 1 power. And then we can do a sum of a geometric series. That's this formula. And we can do the sum of an infinite geometric series as well. But remember, that only works if our common ratio is between -1 and 1. Okay, if our common ratio is not between -1 and 1, you can't find the sum of an infinite geometric series. So you will have those formulas to use on the test. So these first couple, for number 1, we want to find the next 4 terms of the arithmetic sequence. So we just want to take a look at this and see what the pattern is. How are we getting from one number to the next? And it's pretty easy to see. We're subtracting 6 over and over again. So if we subtract 6 again, that's going to give us 38, then 32, then 26, and then 20. Okay, so just want to recognize a pattern and see that that common difference is -6. All right, the next one's a geometric sequence. So again, we want to see what the pattern is, how we're getting. With a geometric sequence, we know that we're going to be multiplying by something over and over, so we're looking for that ratio. And it looks like we are multiplying by a half, because 3 times a half is 3 halves, and then multiply by a half again and by a half again. So the next 4 terms are going to be 3/16, 3 over 32, 3 over 64, and 3 over 128. Okay, so just some pattern. Sorry about that. All right, for the next one, we want to find the 24th term of the arithmetic sequence. Now, we could just list them all out, but that's going to take a long time. So to find the 24th term, we're going to use that formula that I mentioned at the top of the page. We want to look for the first term plus n minus 1 times d. So if we want to find the 24th term, we need A1, which is 8. We're looking for the 24th term. We're going to multiply that by our common difference, which is 6. So we have 8 plus 23 times 6. I need to grab a calculator for that quick. And we get 146. And that was way better than listing them all out. All right, the next one, we want to find the sum of the arithmetic series. Okay, so this is telling us which formula to use. We use that sum formula, which is n over 2 a1 plus an. So to do this, it tells us that n is 10, our first term is 13, and our last term is 47. I'm just going to go ahead and put that in the calculator. And we get 3,055. All right, we now want to find the 12th term of the geometric sequence. So now we need to switch to the geometric formulas. So to find the 12th term, we need this formula. So A1 is 4. Our common ratio is -2. And we're raising it to the 12 minus 1. Make sure when you're putting this in your calculator, either You have to put the 12 minus 1 in parentheses like I've done, or just do that in your head. I mean, obviously it's 11, and just put 11 into your calculator. If you don't use parentheses, your calculator is going to tell you wrong things. So when we do this, it's going to be a pretty big number. Negative 8,192. And the next one, we want to find the sum of the geometric series. So let's see, there's two different formulas for geometric series. Now, this one is telling us it has 8 terms. So that's a finite series. That's not one of our infinite ones. So our finite sum formula is A1, and then in the numerator we have 1. That was supposed to be a 1. Oh, let's fix that. That doesn't look like anything. Okay, try again. 1 minus r to the n over 1 minus r. Okay, so our first term is 12. In the numerator, we have 1 minus 1/3 to the 8th over 1 minus 1/3. You're going to need parentheses around that denominator, but you should be able to do all of this in your calculator. Let me see. This might take me just a second. All right, so then I'm going to divide it by 2/3, multiply by 12. And don't forget, you can convert things to fractions on this. Well, that's a weird fraction. I think it's right, though. Okay, when I did it in my calculator, it gave me a decimal, and then you have that button that you can convert things to fractions, which is how I got this delightful number, rather than doing it all by hand. Okay. In the next video, we'll continue on with this review.